So a lot of people in this community are obsessed with what's natural and what's not natural. But is it natural to think about what's natural and what's not natural? I don't know. The whole argument gets pretty insane on some levels. Like, some people say vegetable juice isn't natural, but the primitive tribes would grab a root of a vegetable, squeeze the juice out to drink it. But they didn't need much because they're healthy. We've been injected with a lot of toxicity and live in an environment with pollution, tons of chemicals, and grew up on a diet of cooked food. So we can't eat the same diet that we would eat in a completely natural environment without any toxicity. So we have to eat a quote unnatural diet because we are not natural, and we need the vegetable juice and many other foods to be able to heal from this pollution, toxicity, and all the damage we've done to our bodies. People will say that a juicer and a blender is not natural, but then they're using an iPhone and driving around in cars and using lights. So I don't know what to say about that. You're not using the blender because you think it's unnatural, but you'll use a phone. It's kind of stupid, really. What I think is natural is to come up with innovation to make things more efficient. Humans naturally try to find better ways of doing things. So, I don't know, humans are a product of nature, and what humans invent is natural, right? Because we're a product of nature, and it's in our nature to do that. So, the juice is beneficial, not the fruit juice, the vegetable juice. Blenders are good, just because it's made by a man doesn't mean it's bad. A lot of things made by men are bad, but the fact that it is made by a man doesn't mean it's bad. So instead of worrying about what's natural and what's unnatural, worry about what works and what doesn't work. What really produces results. You can use the scope of naturalness as a lens of identifying potentially unhealthy practices or ideas or whatever, but it isn't the determining factor. It's arguable what's natural and what's not natural. You can't just say something is natural or it's unnatural. It's like, who's to say? A lot of it is just opinions. Severage will promote the survival of the fittest attitude, but Ajna says in nature, the only time he's seen that is with starving animals. When animals are fed well, they share and they work with one another. They aren't fighting to the death all the time. Some people will say karma is a man-made concept, but I believe karma is very important. And, okay, let's say you are atheist and you think it's a man-made concept. What I would say is, okay, here's an atheist perspective, or a perspective an atheist could understand. You hurt somebody, and then they might want revenge, and then they'll get their revenge, or they'll attempt to get revenge, and then you have more conflict in your life because of that. Or you hurt somebody, and then their life is worse, and then they have less capability to help other people, or because they're hurt, they will hurt more people. So it creates a domino effect. You hurt other people, the world is a worse place. If the world is a worse place, are you going to be happier and healthier? If you help people to improve themselves, no matter who they are, and you help the world to be better, you will have a better life because you'll be surrounded by healthier and happier people. So it really is a domino effect. You hurt somebody, they might become cynical or take that pain out on other people, they hurt more people. And I don't know, maybe it never gets back to you, but if you make the world a worse place, well, your children are going to be in a worse world, And I do believe karma exists on a spiritual level. Like, there's energy all around us. Most people just can't perceive it. It's not like you're literally seeing energy, but energy and karma exists like gravity exists, arguably. The concept of things falling down, not the fact that, or the idea that gravity has to do with mass. I don't know. I don't know if the Earth is a globe or if it's a spiritual dimension. I have no idea. I haven't made a decision. I'm open to either ideas. But yeah, karma is like part of the laws. I don't know if this is accurate or the right word, but it's kind of like the laws of physics. Like karma is, I believe any spiritual concept can be proven by science eventually with some technology. Maybe not what we have now, but karma is like gravity. It's like any other physical phenomena. And like the law of manifestation, or the power of believing. One time I had an experience. For a split moment, I had the idea that whatever I believe is true. And then a few seconds went by, I'm like, wait, I don't get it. But like for a second, I completely understood it. And I was trying to understand what it meant. Whatever I believe is true. What I believe is real. And it's like me believing something makes it real. And 1 week later, my grandma sent me a book called The Power or The Magic of Believing. And it explained in perfect detail what I experienced. And like that was one of the first what I call spiritual experiences. Like I had that experience and then immediately got a book that explained it. And that was part of the beginning of my spiritual journey. But like I don't remember how to pronounce it, like Patanjali, something like that. It's a Hindu guy, and he has a book called the Yoga Sutras, I believe. And in the book, he explains that everything exists on every dimension at the same time. So I don't have all the dimensions memorized, but it's like there's physical, emotional, dream, astral, mental. So it's like if you have an idea that exists on every level, or like you have an object, it exists as an idea, it exists on every dimension possible, like that, the energy behind it can manifest in all the dimensions, or does. I don't have complete understanding of the concept, but it's something that I've always kept in the back of my mind, which has to do with the power of believing. Like you believe something, you believe with enough energy, it can manifest in real life. So like that's like the law of attraction. It's like your beliefs have magnetism to them. So with my beliefs of karma, it's hard to get the right words for it, but something along the lines of, if you take value from other people's lives, eventually value will be taken from yours. And if you help people, eventually the energy will remanifest and help yourself. Like your action, the energy of your action lingers in reality, and it will remanifest itself at some point. And it's not the exact same thing that you did, but it's the same energy, same level of energy. And you could almost consider like a scale of good and bad. And love him or hate him, but Jordan Peterson said that he's never seen anyone get away with anything ever in his whole career with clinical psychology, and he says that is really scary to him. So that to me is proof of karma, or I don't know if proof is the right word, but reinforcement that the idea exists, or that the concept is real. And there's been a lot of times where I've questioned it and then believed it strongly, then was unsure, but at this point I believe in it strongly. That's one reason I'm so into the diet. Helping people get on the diet is the best thing I can do for anyone, because I'm saving them disease. That's the best way I could help anyone and the world. Because if more people are on the diet, there'd be less conflict, more smart people to create a bigger impact in the world, and then less. If everybody's on this diet, people wouldn't be poisoning themselves in the environment. We'd have healthier, happier lives. So my belief of God is that God is not capitalized, meaning it's not an ego. It doesn't have beliefs. It isn't a personality. It's an energy. It's an animate object, but it's like doesn't have rules and stuff. Like all the religious explanations of God aren't to be taken literally, but all of them take it literally. It's symbolic and metaphorical. I don't remember exactly the difference between symbolic and metaphorical, so I use both words. So how I see God is everything. Well, God and the universe are the same thing. We aren't in the universe. We are not in the universe. We are the universe. You know, the matter that makes up our bodies is the same matter that makes up everything else in reality. We are the universe living itself from the inside out. We are God experiencing itself. So you could say we're God looking at itself from the inside out. It's like our cells make up us, and we're like cells for Earth. Or you could say every human is a reflection of the same thing. That might not be the right way of saying it, but something along the lines of everybody on the deepest level is the same energy manifested in different bodies. And religion is made to make you powerless. So they'll teach you that if you have power without God, then you are evil and you are trying to be like God, and that you need to be blessed with power or something. So basically they teach you don't do any spiritual practices, don't develop your own spiritual energy, allow God to control everything. But the thing is, we are God, and we have spiritual power that you can develop, like working out a muscle. Spiritual training, spiritual exercises is like exercise for your soul, for your spiritual energy. And you can manifest miracles, have psychic powers. At first, very subtle, but I believe mind-blowing miracles are possible. So the idea that God is separate from you is to make you weak and powerless. Because we are God. We are a reflection of God. It's like we're a small fraction of God. We're not separate from it. It's like we are God. And you can develop your own power, and it's not wrong. And they want to teach you that it's bad. But it's not. Not just to make you powerless. Because we can develop intuition. We can sense things. We can read people's minds, you know, like just know what they're thinking. We can see flashes of images in our mind that show us what's going to happen, you know, like the intuition, like strong intuition, you know, stuff like that. And I believe the power of the mind is basically infinite. Like, you could lock yourself in a room in the dark and experience everything in the universe. Not like fucking like human life, you know, I'm talking about like universal energies. Like, you go inside your mind and you enter the universe through your mind, you know. You don't have to go out in the world to do it. You can just go in a cave, you know, and experience everything, you know, everything on a spiritual level. So everything spiritual you can experience in your mind. Like, you can go inside of your mind, and there's a gateway to everything in the universe. And I'm not sure if we have unlimited energy, but because like we have, our body's a vessel, it can only handle so much energy, and like you feed it the right nutrients, it can produce more energy. And like spiritual energy, like I believe there's spiritual hormones, there's spiritual like neurotransmitters, or I'm not sure if that's the right word, but like DMT can be produced in your brain. So the eye in Egyptian mythology, I think it's the Eye of Horus, I believe it's called. It looks like a brain cut in half. It looks like the pineal gland. So look up Eye of Horus, pineal gland. And that's the third eye. They say that it has the same tissue in your eye as your eye. Not sure that's true. I'm not sure if I'm using the right words, but something along those lines. And regulates like your circadian rhythm, like wake and sleep cycle, but also your patterns. And they say, well, I've heard like near-death experience stories, and then DMT stories, and they're almost identical. So I believe you can strengthen your pineal gland through meditation. And also, Ajahn says most people that get on this diet develop some intuitive ability. So you have better nutrients, you can produce more DMT in your brain, you can produce more spiritual neurotransmitters, you can be a vessel for larger amounts of spiritual energy to manifest greater phenomena, or visualize, or interpret, or pick up on things, or manifest more. So when I was vegan, I had more deep spiritual experiences. It's probably because I was closer to dying. But after I was vegan, my health was damaged, also because of the fasting. So then, since then, I haven't been able to have as deep spiritual experiences. So it's like a short-term benefit, but then you fuck yourself in the long term. So, in regards to like a lot of the spiritual religions being vegetarian, like imagining if you have like a temple and you got a bunch of monks, you can't feed all of them meat. You just can't. And if you let some of them have meat, they're gonna excel beyond all the others, and then it's gonna disrupt the balance. So they had, I don't know, but probably part of the reason that they're vegetarian is because they couldn't afford it, and they had to keep everybody equal, or else the balance would get fucked up. And they just literally couldn't afford it for everybody to have the meat. So I don't know. Some people will say that spirituality is bullshit, and they'll say something along the lines of, "This is all New Age stuff," but none of this is new. And I haven't really looked into it. To be honest, I don't care. They'll use the vegan thing as a way to disprove spirituality. But the thing is, you can experience all this sober. You just have to train meditation and do the Tumo breathing exercises and all the spiritual practices. I'm way out of practice. I really miss it. I really miss the spiritual practice because that's when I have the most satisfaction in my life. The two biggest things contributing to my purpose in life... Sorry, had to check Google Maps. The two biggest things contributing to my purpose in life was my spiritual journey and this diet. So I was on a normal diet, got into meditation, went vegan. I got injected before the last section of my spiritual practice, and then I started the diet, but then I fasted so much before I started the diet, so my health is destroyed because of the injections plus the fasting. So then I haven't really been able to meditate. My whole life's been like flipped upside down, and it's hard to practice now, the meditation. So meditation significantly improved my quality of life. Like, I thought it was so important. I preached meditation like I preached the diet. I'd always be trying to teach people, get my friends to meditate. You got to meditate every morning, every night. And then I was like teaching everybody, like having kind of classes at my house, just like teaching my friends for free. And just like I preached the diet, just as hard. And the diet also has dramatically improved my life. So I kind of believe that the circumstances that I'm in is I experienced meditation alone benefiting my life. Then I quit meditating, and then I've experienced the diet benefiting my life. So maybe at some point in the near future, I'm going to be in a situation where I can meditate properly again. I just don't have the time or the environment to do it right now. I have to work constantly. I'd really like to, but I also need quiet to get started again. Like, maybe if I was healthier and less irritable, I could focus better and more grounded, I could meditate with noises, but I want a dark, quiet room to meditate in to get started again. And you could say it's limiting beliefs, but also it's like I don't have the time right now. I have to work so much to afford everything. So maybe at some point I'll be able to get on I know I will be able to, but I think these experiences I'm having is just teach me that each individually can help me a lot. And then when I put the two together, my life will transform like crazy. So I really look forward to the day where I can get on a better meditation routine, because everything I'm doing to develop my health is so that at the end of my life, or end of the day, I don't know, that I get into the spiritual practice, because being enlightened is kind of like winning life. And being enlightened, that's a whole nother video. Most people have a complete misunderstanding of what it actually is. With my spiritual practice, it was like everything physical was useless, and that the only thing truly meaningful was developing spiritually. And it was so amazing. I'm 21 now. My deepest spiritual development was at 18. My health got destroyed. And then I got out of the practice. I've tried to get back into it a few times, but it always ends up not working. So, but it'd be easier to meditate if I ate chicken instead of beef. Audrina says if you want to meditate better, don't eat the red meat, eat the chicken. But I don't have a good source of chicken right now. When I was a child, I was strict atheist. I would argue with people about it, and I would get aggressive about it, like bad. And then I started doing psychedelics and I completely transformed. And if you say that the psychedelics made me delusional and then I believe it because I'm insane, you are a fool. And some people won't like me saying that, but spiritual reality definitely exists. It's not like separate from everything else. It's like it's interweaved. It's like it's on top of it. It's like inside it. It's like the same. You just don't have the spiritual perception on a daily basis. And I don't even have spiritual experiences all the time. I used to have profound spiritual experiences every single day. Well, a lot of them are subtle, but obviously spiritual. And I seeked spiritual experiences when I started doing the psychedelics. I didn't know what spiritual was for a long time. And it might sound arrogant, I'm not sure if it's the right word, but at my peak spiritual practice, I thought to myself, I know more about reality than most people know in their entire life. And you could think I'm arrogant or insane for saying that, but what I experienced in regards to the spiritual life is completely unfathomable. I don't know if I said that right. Okay, you get it. Whatever that word is, most people cannot even understand it whatsoever, and their whole idea of how the world works is completely wrong. I'm not talking about society and the human world. I'm still learning a lot about that, but I'm talking about the spiritual world. Most people don't have any energy invested into it, and they ignorantly think they fall into the trap of religion. But they pray wrong. They put their life in the hands of some magical being when they don't realize that they have the power and they need to take control of their own lives. You have a built-in purpose of what you're naturally good at and what you're supposed to do, I believe, but it's not it's kind of is predetermined for you. And I do believe that there is choices in reality. Not everything is preset, but there's inclinations, and I don't even fully know, but I do believe I'm starting to understand that choices are real. I used to think that everything that's going to happen is already going to happen exactly how it's supposed to happen, but I do believe choices are real, and everything that is happening is what's supposed to happen, but I believe there is alternatives, and that might be true, I don't know, but I'm not sure. I'm just throwing that out there.